It's a cool, overcast spring morning here in Sydney, and I'm in Chippendale on Myrtle Street, which is a beautiful, peaceful little street lined with terrace houses. We're only a stone's throw away from Broadway and Abercrombie Street, but it's really quiet here. There are more bikes coming through than there are cars. But what makes this street really special and stand out from some of the other terrace-lined streets around here is what's crammed into the verge between the footpath and the gutter. It's an intricate, sprawling and wildly varied community garden. We're about to meet with Michael Mobbs, who is one of the folks who's been instrumental in getting this community garden up and running, and he's just picked a nasturtium flower and handed it to our photographer to eat.
That's pleasant, like a bit radishy.
Yeah,
Am I right?
It's a bit peppery. There's honey in part of the flower, and it's a really good public garden plant because it's very hardy. It doesn't require much water, and it looks pretty. Absent the gardens, we would never have somebody in the street meeting each other. The gardens bring people together. They actually grow community, not just the plants. What it means is accidental conversations with people who would otherwise remain perfect strangers. People come here and they buy houses because they say the streets are so pretty. They say, I bought here because of the streets. So what we do actually increases property value as well as grow community, but also it increases understanding. People don't know that you can eat many of the plants we're getting here, but they'll go and buy them from the shop. So it grows, it's an educational, it's a community growing thing, and it improves our quality of life in ways we can't predict. This is my favourite Australian edible plant. It's a finger lime. It's great with scrambled eggs, great on oysters. There's a tomato growing up there. Some of this is self-seeded. This is another raised bed garden. We've got some comfrey to grow for fertiliser. The soil is quite poor in our gardens. This is actually a seat that is also a compost, so I can sit on this. We get about 300 kilos of food waste a week in our compost bins here. Yeah, I met a neighbour, very hard working during this virus, and he said it's amazing what's happened during the virus. Because I'm at home, I'm doing more cooking, and now I have to tell you, it gives me a little thrill to put the waste food in the container and walk over the other side of the street and put it in the compost. It's really helped me understand what's in the street. So it's a real virus alternative. It gives people something to do and think about. And you and I are standing now in front of some lemongrass, which is great with, you can have incense, you can make tea out of it. There's a leek there, these beautiful poppies, and there's some mint over the back. And now here's a pawpaw tree that grew from some compost.
Wow. And
there's a kaffir lime over there and some mint. And the thing about this is you don't have to join, you don't have to go to committee meetings as you do in some gardens where there's got to be a management structure because there's only so much land. Here, as you say, it's outside your front door. So you can walk out, pick something, grow something, and you don't need to be in a place where, or a community garden where you've got to go to. I'm not saying anything other than that. It's just outside your front door. It's so easy.
And that makes it so accessible, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It means you're more likely to get involved and learn and grow.
Yeah, and also talk to your neighbours. So we're walking down here, somebody's put some little beds outside, they've got some parsley growing. And this wonderful library, some people in this street and around the corner made this library, put it up here for anybody to use. And it's amazing. It must go through thousands and thousands of books. Sometimes it's jam-packed. Now it's about half full. But basically, it's a street of... I'll hear people say, gee, look at this. Look at that. What's that? It's a street that generates conversations and friendships.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got about 1,000 fruit trees, herbs and plants and about 20 city blocks here. And if we could not have done this without the support and working relationship with the council. My interest in food started as a boy on a farm, but what happened is I took my house off grid for water, sewage and energy in 1996 after I'd been consulting to the New South Wales Parliament on what to do with Sydney's water, sewage and stormwater. It changed my life, and I learnt that my house, although it does all those things, is actually trivial. I learnt that the growing, production, transport and waste of food is about the third or fourth greatest polluter of Earth's climate. So I thought, gosh, I'm a real failure. I've got to get cracking with food. So I started gardening, but my terrace house is too small. And then I started gardening in the street. And that's when I and my community and council worked together to create this policy. And now I've got these plants here. If you eat, you can grow food. Let's imagine that you try to grow some something from a cutting, some basil or something like that. Don't worry if it dies, because it becomes compost. No one loses. So for my own part, lots of my plants die, but they become compost. So have fun, and when you get your first success, it might be with some mint or something simple, then you'll be able to put it on your scrambled egg or something like that, and you'll just feel so connected to what you've grown. It just is such a wonderful way to enrich your life.